I locked the door. I know I did. So why? Was the handle turning slowly from the inside? You think you're safe in your own home. You think you're alone in your car. But the truth is, someone is always watching. Tonight, 5 real people share the moments they almost didn't make it out alive. And after you hear these stories, you'll never sleep with the lights off again. Welcome to the True Haunting Log podcast. Before we begin, I must warn you. What you are about to hear is not just stories. All the stories in this episode are real incidents shared by real people from around the world. These are the terrifying encounters that police reports and news headlines often miss. So, close your doors, check your windows, and get ready. Let's begin. Story 1, The Night Shift. Our first story comes from a man named David. This incident took place in 1998 when he worked the graveyard shift at a gas station in rural Ohio. I've always been a night owl. That's why I took the job at the 24-hour gas station on the edge of town. It was easy money. Mostly, I just sat there, drank coffee, and read books. But one Tuesday night, around 3 a.m., everything changed. The station was dead silent. I was wiping down the counter when I saw a car pull up to pump number 4. It was an old, rusted sedan, the kind that looks like it's been in a scrapyard for years. I watched the driver. He didn't get out. He just sat there. The engine was off, and the lights were off. I figured he was just checking his phone or resting. But then, 10 minutes passed. Then 20. I started to get a bad feeling in my gut. The windows of his car were tinted dark, so I couldn't see inside. Finally, the driver's door opened. A man stepped out. He was tall, wearing a long trench coat that looked too heavy for the summer heat. He didn't walk to the pump. He didn't walk to the store entrance. He walked directly toward the glass window, right where I was standing. He stopped just inches from the glass. He didn't look at the snacks or the drinks. He looked straight at me. His eyes were wide, unblinking, and he had this twisted, frozen smile on his face. He just stood there, smiling. I picked up the store phone, pretending to make a call, hoping to scare him off. But he didn't flinch. Then, he reached into his coat pocket. My heart stopped. I thought, this is it. He has a gun. But he didn't pull out a weapon. He pulled out a piece of paper and taped it to the glass. Then, just as slowly as he arrived, he turned around, got back in his car, and drove away into the darkness. I waited until his taillights were gone before I ran outside to lock the door. I looked at the note he left on the window. It was a photo, a Polaroid. It was a picture of me, standing behind the counter, taken from inside the store just a few minutes ago. I quit that job the next morning. I never found out who he was or how he got inside without me seeing him. But I know one thing. I was never truly alone in that store. Story 2, The Craigslist Sofa. Buying things online is normal, right? But for Sarah, a simple purchase in 2010 turned into a nightmare. I had just moved into my first apartment and I needed cheap furniture. I found a beautiful leather sofa on Craigslist for free. The listing said, must pick up tonight. I borrowed my friend's truck and drove to the address. It was a nice house in the suburbs. When I knocked, a middle-aged man answered. He seemed normal. A bit sweaty, maybe, but polite. The couch is in the basement, he said. I can't lift it alone. I followed him inside. The house was incredibly quiet. No TV, no music, no family photos on the walls. We got to the basement door. He opened it and a smell hit me. It wasn't a bad smell, like garbage. It smelled like bleach. Strong chemical bleach. I hesitated. Is the couch down there? I asked. Yes, he said, stepping aside to let me go first. Right at the bottom. My instincts started screaming at me. Don't go down there. I looked down the stairs. It was pitch black. Can you turn on the light? I asked. The bulb is burnt out, he replied. His voice had changed. It was lower now. Colder. He took a step toward me. I took a step back. Actually, I said, my voice shaking, I measured my door and I don't think it will fit. Sorry to waste your time. I turned to leave. That's when I heard the click. The sound of the front door being locked behind me. I spun around. He was standing between me and the exit. He wasn't smiling anymore. He looked angry. You didn't even look at it, he whispered. I didn't think, I just reacted. I shoved him as hard as I could and ran for the back door in the kitchen. I heard him stumble and curse. I fumbled with the lock on the back door, my hands trembling. Finally, it opened. I sprinted to the truck, jumped in, and locked the doors. As I peeled out of the driveway, I saw him standing in the kitchen window. He was holding a coil of rope. I reported him to the police. When they went to the house, it was empty. But in the basement, they didn't find a couch. They found a single chair facing the wall and soundproof foam stapled to the ceiling. Story 3, The Unlocked Door. Sometimes, the most terrifying thing isn't what you see, but what you don't see. This story comes from a teenager named Emily, and it happened in October 2005. My parents were out of town for the weekend, so I had the house to myself. I was excited: pizza, movies, and no curfew. Around 11 p.m., I was sitting on the couch watching a horror movie. Typical, I know. It was raining hard outside. I heard a noise from the kitchen. A soft thump. I paused the TV. The house was silent, except for the rain. Hello? I called out. No answer. I told myself it was just the wind or the house settling. I went to the kitchen to get some water. That's when I noticed it. The back door, it was cracked open about an inch. My blood ran cold. I was obsessive about locking doors. I knew I had locked it at 8 p.m. I ran over, slammed it shut, and deadbolted it. I grabbed a knife from the counter and checked every room on the first floor. Empty. I felt a bit better. Maybe I didn't close it all the way, I thought. I went back to the living room and sat down, but I couldn't relax. I felt like someone was watching me. I looked at the TV screen. It was black because I had paused the movie. The screen acted like a mirror for the room behind me. In the reflection, I saw movement. Behind the sofa, a dark shape rising up. I screamed and rolled off the couch just as a man lunged over the back of it. He was wearing dirty clothes and smelled like a wet dog. He had been hiding behind the sofa the whole time I was in the kitchen. I scrambled to my feet and ran for the front door. He grabbed my ankle. I kicked him in the face hard. He let go with a grunt. I tore the front door open and ran into the rain, screaming for the neighbors. By the time the police arrived, he was gone. But they found something that haunts me to this day. Under the sofa, where he had been hiding, they found a roll of duct tape and a long, serrated hunting knife. He was waiting for me to fall asleep. Story 4. The Smiling Hiker. Nature is beautiful, but when you're miles from civilization, you are vulnerable. This story was sent in by an avid hiker named Mark from 2019. I love solo hiking. There's something peaceful about being miles away from the noise of the city. Last October, I was hiking a trail in the Appalachian Mountains. It wasn't a popular trail, so I hadn't seen anyone for hours. About 4 miles in, the trail narrowed. Thick brush on both sides. Up ahead, I saw someone standing in the middle of the path. As I got closer, I saw it was a man. He was wearing a bright yellow suit, like a hazmat suit, but dirty. He was just standing there, facing away from me. "Excuse me," I said, "passing on your left." He didn't move. As I squeezed past him, I looked at his face. He was grinning. A wide, impossible grin that stretched from ear to ear. His eyes were closed, and he was humming a strange, high-pitched tune. I walked faster. My heart was pounding. I didn't look back for a good 5 minutes. When I finally did, the trail behind me was empty. I sighed with relief. Just a weirdo, I told myself. I set up camp that night about 2 miles further up. I built a small fire and tried to relax. Around midnight, I woke up. I heard snapping twigs. I lay still in my tent, listening. Snap, crunch, snap. Footsteps, circling the tent. Then the humming started. That same high-pitched tune. It was right outside the thin fabric of my tent. I held my breath, gripping my hiking stick. A single finger, pressed against the outside of the tent door, slowly tracing the zipper down. "Are you sleeping, Mark?" a voice whispered. He knew my name. I let out a roar and smashed my stick against the side of the tent. I heard him laugh, a manic giggling sound, and then running footsteps fading into the woods. I packed up in the dark and hiked back to my car without a flashlight. I didn't care if I broke a leg. I just needed to get out. Story 5. The Nanny Cam. Technology is supposed to help us protect our families, but sometimes it reveals things we wish we never saw. This final story is from a mother named Jessica, and it occurred in 2022. My husband and I installed a nanny cam in our daughter's room when she was born. It connects to an app on my phone so I can check on her from work. One day, I was at the office, sitting in a boring meeting. I decided to open the app just to see my baby sleeping. The feed loaded. The room was dim, the curtains drawn for nap time. My daughter was in her crib, fast asleep. But then, I saw movement in the corner of the room. My breath hitched. The closet door was slowly opening. I thought maybe it was a draft, but then a hand reached out from the darkness of the closet. A pale, skinny hand. It gripped the doorframe. Then, a face peeked out. It was a woman. Her hair was matted and wild. She looked directly at the camera. She raised the finger to her lips. Shh. Then she crawled out of the closet, on all fours, and scurried under my daughter's crib. I screamed in the middle of the meeting. "Call 911, there's someone in my house." I drove home like a maniac. The police beat me there. They searched the house. My daughter was fine, still sleeping. But under the crib, they found a sleeping bag, empty food wrappers, and a knife. The woman had been living in our house for weeks. coming out when we were at work, and hiding under the crib while my baby slept above her. To this day, I can't look at a closet door without checking inside. And that brings us to the end of this log. 5 stories. 5 real nightmares. It makes you wonder, who is watching you right now? If you enjoyed these stories, please destroy that like button and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you never miss a log. And remember, if you have a story, if you've seen something you can't explain, or met someone you wish you hadn't, email us at truehauntinglog@gmail.com. We want to hear your story, and we will make it happen on YouTube for you. Until next time, stay safe, and don't look behind you.